Now, we talked about there being a lot of changes here in 2022 on Court TV. One of the changes is that plea day has been added to the afternoon of these miscellaneous dates. Now, plea day, as we call it, some people call it arraignment if you're in a different part of the country, some people call it arraignment here. That's really the first time someone is in court. Now, on plea day, you're going to see it's going to go very fast. The plea day part will go very fast. You're going to have people who haven't hired a private lawyer or are assigned to the public defender. If someone has hired a private lawyer by that point, that lawyer is going to file a waiver, what we call a waiver of arraignment, and a not guilty plea. So, for instance, that's what I do for my clients. My clients aren't going to go to plea day, but when I was a public defender, all of those clients go to plea day. It's a lot of times it's the first time a public defender is going to see that client. They're going to give them a card, they're going to set them an appointment, and they're going to get ready for that next court date, which is pretrial conference that we talked about in another video. This is a change because plea day last year was on a different day. It wasn't intertwined with this. This has actually streamlined it, put it all in one day. It does seem like it's a lot easier to take care of. After the plea day part goes, and that part goes rather quickly, then starts the afternoon of the miscellaneous VOP court date. The afternoon is reserved for larger hearings or contested VOP hearings, and I know we talked about those earlier. There's not a lot of those, but they do happen. But those other larger hearings, things like sentencings, when someone has entered a plea to a case and now they're going to come back and get sentenced by the judge, and they're going to bring in, people to testify. They're going to bring in their friends or family to speak on their behalf and bring in letters. And we're going to hear that compelling testimony about maybe why they should get less than what the state's offered or why they should get this or that. And those are always very, very entertaining, very riveting to watch. I know even here at the office, we stay glued to Crestview Community TV on these afternoons.
Do we have Mr. Notes' client?
The technology is the same.
I know is in some client meetings this afternoon, so she was going to try to be available, but I just don't know when.
Okay. I don't see any private counsel. Thomas Lowry. Is Mr. Lowry? Mr. Lowry, you come up to the lectern. 23 CF 1131. Hello, Mr. Lowry. Mr. Lowry, do you wish for me to appoint a public defender if you qualify financially?
No, sir.
Okay, you're going to hire a private attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Lowry, so you were handed a copy of the information which shows the vehicle theft. I'm going to set your pretrial conference. Does it say July 10th on there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'll see you on July 10th at 9 o'clock. Get your attorney on board sooner than later so that he or she can communicate with the state. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So July 10th at 9.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Philip Mitchell is next. Come on, Mr. Mitchell. 23 CF 1157.
Your Honor, just to go ahead and, at this time, Mr. Mitchell actually came in, had a valid license that was actually issued the day after this incident took place. He immediately took care of it, and so for that, we're going to announce a dismissal of this case.
Super. Mr. Mitchell, your case is dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Larry, Ricky, yeah, that sounds better. 23 CF 124. Hello, Mr. Ricky.
Hello, sir.
Okay, I don't know if the state's got an offer for Mr. Ricky at this time. Mr. Ricky, the reason why I ask is if they're offering you something, withhold of adjudication and something that you're familiar with or that you want to accept, then you can do that. But if they don't offer you something like that, we'll talk about right to an attorney, okay?
Judge, at this point, it's an adjudication of guilt and supervision. I received some information from my victim that I need to confirm the way it's worded as far as the restitution form. It appears there could either be less than $10,000 or more than $10,000 that my victim is requesting in restitution. So that's why at this point I'm hesitant to make an agreement today until I have that ironed out with my victim.
Okay. Mr. Ricky, do you want me to appoint a public defender if you qualify financially?
Yes, sir.
How much money do you make per month?
I get $1,300 for disability, and I also work part-time at Sam's,
Okay.
so I get roughly $800 a month from that.
So that's $2,100?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I do appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. McKinney's approaching on your right.
Judge, we will acknowledge the receipt of 2 count information, waive its formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty. This is scheduled for July 10th at 9 a.m. I'll make an appointment to continue before that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ricky, I'll see you July 10th at 9, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Can I make a comment? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Allison, who do you have in the back?
Only from this morning's docket.
Only from this morning? Is that,
We had a really small plea day docket for plea day today. It was like very minimal cases, so I feel like the ones that are left are the ones that Scott called back for 2:30, and so I don't know if we can necessarily handle those until he gets back at 2:30.
so nobody else on the arraignment docket?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
I have two. I have James Ward with Misc.Felony.
James Ward.
Thank you.
Mr. Ward is approaching in 23 CF 1151. We would acknowledge the receipt of a 3 count information, waive its formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty. This is scheduled for September 11th at 9 a.m. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Would it be possible to advance this into the July 10th court date?
If you wish to. Yes, sir.
Judge, I would like to see if there's a way to resolve the case.
Okay.
Even if we end up continuing it, I'd like to put hands on it and come back on July 10th.
Okay. Do you want to be able to waive Mr. Ward's presence if you don't have an agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Ward, that means that I'll see your attorney on July 10th at 9 o'clock. If there's something that the state offers you that you want to accept, and I'll see you then. Mr. McKinney will tell you whether you need to be here on the 10th or not. Okay.
Thank you.
There's my contact information. Schedule time to come in and see me sooner rather than later.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Weaver.
your name is? Oh, from this morning, right?
Yes, sir.
This is Cameron. It's under Jake Witt on the docket, but Mr. Noakes still represents him on one of the cases.
Yes.
Hello, Ms. Jacob.
Hi, Judge.
So we have Mr. Weaver here. Mr. Noakes represents him on one case. It's my understanding that you represent him on another case.
Not that I'm aware of, Judge, unless there's an order that came through that I haven't received.
Okay. What is the case number?
The case number that Ms. Jake Witt represents him on is 22 CF 1570.
22 CF 1570. And Madam Clerk saying that, when was she appointed for that? Mr. Noakes mentioned that you withdrew from Mr. Weaver's other case, but not this one.
The order appointing RCC was done on 6/14.
614 was the order appointing Regional Conflict Counsel to the 1570 case.
And I apologize, Judge, there has been, I don't know what's going on and what's causing it, but I have not been getting orders. I have not been getting e-served them from JAs, nor been provided them from the clerk's office. So I'm intermittently getting them and intermittently not. And then sometimes I'm getting Mr. Harper's orders and Ms. Garcia's orders, but not my own orders. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I apologize. I will do a motion to withdraw on that today. And I will make sure that the order has Mr. Noakes' name on it.
Okay, so the same conflict that you have on the other case, you'd have on this case?
Yes, Your Honor, the conflict arises from the underlying new law violation that occurred in Walton County. We represent a witness. So that's where the conflict is coming from, and this VOP is partially based on that new law.
So the oral motion to withdraw is granted, and Mr. Noakes is appointed on 22 CF 1570. So Mr. Weaver, he also represents you on that case. Mr. Noakes, what do you wish to do on Mr. Weaver's case?
Judge, again, I just learned of this case yesterday afternoon, basically. I don't know if the state has had a chance since this morning to relook at what's going on, but he's only, on the case that I initially had been appointed, he was only on probation for a misdemeanor. I don't know how long he's been in jail. State, are your position changed from what it was this morning?
Not at this point, but we can discuss some of the situation as far as his incarceration here versus the case going on in Walton County. I think that's probably going to be something that we need to talk about a little bit.
Okay, so do we want to set them, are they both new cases or the VOP cases?
Both cases here are VOPs. The new case is Walton.
So how far out do you want to set it, Mr. Noakes? You want July 13th, that's the next date?
What day are we looking at, Judge?
July 13th?
Okay. Judge, and I normally don't even try to get a bond situation like this, but again, I think he's been in jail for a while, so or he intends to move to the court to possibly set him a bond on the VOPs.
Okay, to the state?
Judge, I don't think I'm prepared right now to argue a bond motion on it, but if we can work out something, because I need to look at the Walton County case and see what the status is, and if we can work out something, then Mr. Noakes and I can send a stipulated motion in order before that next court date.
Okay. So, Mr. Weaver, I'll see you no later than July 13th, but I'm maybe addressing things before that date at the state, and your attorney can agree. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Noakes. Jacob, do you have anyone else? At 1:30?
I'm sorry, Judge, were you asking me? It's kind of fading in and out.
Do you have anyone else you represent on the 1:30 arraignment docket?
Your Honor, I received a message from Ms. Davis this morning that you wanted me to zoom in about, I believe the last name was Shaw, Mr. Darrell Shaw.
The last one on the morning docket.
I believe Mr. Morrow withdrew on the record this morning
Okay.
in that case.
Back because of, sorry, Your Honor, I believe you said you didn't need him back because of the pending possibly
Right,
incarceration.
right. Okay, so, Ms. Jakewood, I just appointed you to represent Darrell Shaw, 15 CF 1264. Just so you know.
Yes, sir, and I think the concern was that I guess Mr. Morrow indicated there might have been a conflict for my office as well, and that's just not something I'm able to, right at this exact moment, evaluate and give that court an answer on.
Understand. Good. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else that Ms. Jakewood's on for 1:30? Clerk saying no. Do you have anybody at 2:30, Ms. Jakewood?
Not that I know of, Judge.
Nope. And the clerk says you're clear too. Have a great long weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor, you as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, what else? Madam Clerk?
1:30, we have Katrina Smith. Your turn.
#23 CF 1133. Ms. Smith is not incarcerated. She's not present. This was noticed for 1:30. It's now 1:44. What does the state seek?
Capious, Your Honor.
Capious will be issued for Ms. Smith, and the first appearance judge will determine the bond. Anybody?
That is all I have until 2:30.
This is one of those times that we think about moving up 2:30 to 2. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Should we do that? Should we not do that?
I know next month, the 13th, is gonna be pretty packed, so.
I think we're just in like shorter days, but I think eventually we will need all that time.
Okay. Just, I'm open to do whatever, so y'all just let me know what works for you.
I think it'd be better just to have more time than to need more time, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
I do have one unrepresented from the 9 a.m.
Okay,
docket.
from the 9 a.m. docket, who's that from?
Jason Neely.
Yes. Jason Corey Neely, 19 CF 1571 and 21 CF 1527. Doesn't show that Mr. Neely's incarcerated. Was noticed for 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 1:45. Mr. Neely is not present. Capious will be issued for Mr. Neely, and the first appearance judge will determine the bond.
Okay.
Anybody else?
That's all I have until 2:30.
Okay, so we're all clear except 2:30. Right? All right. See y'all back here at 2:30.